What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Wednesday. It's a beautiful hump day. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for the Vikings Wednesday news dump. As you're, I can feel you. You're watching me, watching you, taking a poop. That's right. Everyone's dumping. Something also dumped was the Metrodome 13 years ago this week. And the 2010 season was completely odd. So you had 09, you had the Saints, you had whatever. Bert Favre was dragged out of retirement again. Oh, the private jets heading down to Hattiesburg. And the Vikings in 2010 were just ass. Thank you. Also, remember Randy Moss came back for like a month? Vikings traded a fourth-round pick to the Patriots for Moss to come back, get your 84 jerseys out, and then Brad Childress waived him, and then Brad Childress got fired, and Leslie Frazier took over. Yeah, but the collapse of the dome when the great state of Minnesota had like 17 inches of snow precipitated a very odd series of events. So number one, the Vikings played the Giants in a home game in Detroit where they got boat raced 21-3, and then they had to play a game on the frozen surface of TCF Bank Stadium before the Vikings played there for 2 years, before there were heat coils in the ground, and the Gopher season obviously was very much done, and yeah, it was no good. Also, that was the last snap of Bert Favre's career, where after he got his helmet jostled against the frozen surface. And then the Vikings played that Tuesday night game in Philadelphia. Antoine Winfield Sr., getting things done. Good times, man. Yeah, but 2010, I don't know, like the dome is always the thing for me as a kid. Coming into the cities and you see that thing, it's just like, how does it stay inflated? It's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. And then you realize as an adult, like the Metrodome was probably one of the worst stadiums ever. I mean, it was fine for football. Got super loud and proud. It's great. But I mean, baseball, I was a big baseball fan as a kid. It's like, now that we got beautiful Target Field, it's like, how did you ever play indoor baseball? It's just ridiculous. But also good memories. 2 World Series there in 87 to 91. And the whole thing, it was a dump, but it was our dump sort of deal. And this is a dump. Something that isn't a dump is KJ and Justin freaking Jefferson doing some amazing work. So they put together a holiday shopping spree in Roseville at Target. KJ Osborne, Justin freaking Jefferson, as well as Anthony Edwards was sprinkled in there somewhere. And then JJ tweeted out, "A memory that will last forever." Also, a kid just straight up asked him, "Hey, you going to play on Saturday?" He's like, "Yes, sir." All right, so again, JJ seemed to avoid serious injury with that shot that he took in Vegas, and I mean that's what happens in Vegas. Most shots in Vegas are knockouts. It happens, man, and sometimes you end up in the local hospital. But JJ is going to be back on Saturday, and love seeing them do fantastic work in the community as well. Love it, man. So something I also love is the way that this freaking defense is playing. And PFF's highest graded defenders by position. So Garrett on the edge, whatever. Interior Dexter Lawrence. We remember Dexter Lawrence from the wild card game. Just completely wrecked Bradbury. Ivan Pace Jr. at off ball, 92.9, a PFF grade, which is pretty damn good. Snead, I don't know. I feel like that could have been Mekhi Blackman. And then Josh Mattel's at safety, 89.6. Although I feel like he should. How does he grade out at all the other positions? Because he probably played most of them on Sunday against the Raiders. So that's something you love to see. Some unfortunate news. So Wes Phillips last Friday night got popped for DWI. Still made the trip to Vegas and still coached in the game. He addressed the local media jackals on Tuesday. Gessling, Strib, go. Vikings OC Wes Phillips, speaking for the first time about his DUI arrest on Friday night, said he would accept whatever discipline comes as a result. I do understand as a coach in this league that there are certain standards from the NFL and the Vikings. I didn't live up to those. Phillips, the last thing I would ever want to do is detract from the attention being on great things that these guys do. I do believe in being accountable, learning from your mistakes, and accepting whatever discipline may come down the road and growing from it. And when asked if he expects to coach on Saturday in Cincinnati, he says that's not up to him, and he'll keep coaching until they tell him not to. Well, we'll see. Like I said, like DUI, DWI, it's very selfish because it's so easy to avoid. I mean, with ride shares and taxis and Ubers and all that stuff. And also it's selfish because you're putting not only yourself, but if you have passengers in the car and others at risk, it's not good. It's no bueno. And it is a good teaching lesson for the team. It's like, hey, I mean, it's not acceptable. And I do expect West probably to be suspended a game. Kevin O'Connell said TBD at this moment in time, but we'll see. We'll see, man. Someone we'll also see is the Lions, the fraudulent Lions, who lost to the Bears. Should have lost to the Bears a couple weeks ago. Maybe losing to the Bears isn't so bad. Lost to the Packers, who are garbage. But you look at the next 4 games for the Lions, and the Lions are only 2 games ahead of the Vikings in the NFC North versus the Broncos, who suddenly are very good. Then 2 games against the Vikings, and then you're at the Cowboys. I think the Lions are going to lose out. I think the Lions are going to end the season on a 5-game losing streak. Remember, this is a team that started out 1-6 last year, but it's still in their DNA. All this hype, all this hoopla, it's going to go down the drain. Speaking of down the drain, so Al Michaels won't be announcing a game in the playoffs this year. Ari Merov, go. NBC will not have Al Michaels back for the postseason this year, as they did last year for Charger Jaguars per Andrew Marchand. He actually got himself a good game. Instead, NBC's #1 college team, Noah Eagle, a son of Ian Eagle, and Todd Blackledge will be on the call for the second NBC wildcard playoff game. Actually, I think Todd Blackledge, before Mahomes, I think he was the last quarterback the Chiefs drafted in the first round. I may be wrong on that, but it's close either way. But Michaels, all right, so 2 years ago, or last season, Al Michaels joined up with Amazon Prime, does the Thursday night games at Kirk Herbstreit, and I have a lot of love and respect for Al Michaels, but you can tell that he's just cashing a paycheck, man. Like, he's sort of lethargic. He's not really into it. I mean, he's had a storied career, and maybe he's just taking a knee and running out the clock and cashing some checks and eating some steak and not eating vegetables. That's what he does, man. But I mean, just the energy, the mojo. I mean, you don't have to be Gus Johnson at every call, but it just seems like he's like, whatever. Now part of it could be that Thursday night matchups have not been great, but. Yeah, there seems to be a changing of the guard there at NBC. It was great that they had him back for the one-off game last year, but Tirico does a great job with Collinsworth, and we'll see what the rest of the plan is. Also, speaking of plan and NBC, NBC has 4 playoff games next month. At Network's #1 team, Sunday Night Football's Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth will handle 3 of them, including one that will be exclusive just to the network streaming service Peacock. Now, the 4th game. How about just me? How about just me and Fred Smoot? We will call that game, and it will be great. Except most of the game will be me asking Fred questions about the Love Boat. It'll be like, Fred, if they have sex with you for money, that they're not considered strippers. There's different terms. Anyways, 3rd and 16. But a lot of people are up in arms about a game being exclusive on Peacock, which, I don't know, like, people don't like change, and I am to the point where I don't want to get another freaking streaming service where, like, hey, there's this really cool show, except it's on Snorkel Plus. I don't know. But, I mean, egad. So it was nice when things started and cutting the cord on cable because you're paying like $150 for TV. But once you add up, all right, so we personally have YouTube TV, HBO Max, Bally's Plus, what else do you have? Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. I'm sure there's more, man. An NBA ticket. It's just, it adds up. Oh, we got Peacock too, obviously. And it's just ridiculous, man. But, I mean, at a certain point, like, people complained about Thursday night going to Amazon Prime last year, but now we sort of live with it. So I think that will be the future. Speaking of future, so the NFL International Game Series has spread across Europe and Germany, etc., and apparently they're headed to South America next year. Joe Pompliano, the NFL will host a regular season game in Sao Paulo Sao Paulo, Brazil next year per Danny A. Calle. The game will be played at Arena Corinthians, a 50,000-seat stadium that hosted 6 matches during the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Brazil is the NFL's third largest market behind the U.S. and Mexico. Now, a couple things here. So what does he mean by saying Brazil is the NFL's third largest market? Does it just mean by population, or does it mean by interest? Because I'm calling BS on interest, man. I mean, population, sure. And you could see why it would be ahead of like Canada and England and Germany, etc. But I feel like there are a handful of Brazilians, and we see them on social media as well as in the comments. And so, trust me, there's some hardcore NFL fans from Brazil. But as a whole, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand this one. Where Brazil, football is life. Well, football and jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, NFL, like, there isn't any Gracies in the NFL. There isn't any soccer players with one name as kickers. So, I don't really understand this. Now, it would make sense if they had a game in a market where there is NFL talent. Like, I like what they're doing with the NFL Africa initiative, because there are a lot of there's a lot of players starting to trickle into the league and college football that are of African descent, as well as I do think that, I mean, could you have a game in Nigeria? Sure. I mean, could you have a game in Africa? Could you have a game in Asia? Does that make more sense? Expand Europe a little bit more? Sure. But I don't get this one, man. I really don't. I mean, so I've visited Brazil before. Brazil is fantastic. It's very laissez-faire. You think that San Diego Chargers fans were super casual and laissez-faire about football? Just try to get a bunch of Brazilians into a game. Not like they love football and they love living life. But I don't know if the National Football League will go down there. It's like, is there even any prominent Brazilian players? Like I'm trying to think. Like maybe a kicker. Like maybe Santos? I'm just throwing out Brazilian names. Maybe it catches that. I don't know, but I don't know. Like I guess they have to try and use up those World Cup venues, which have basically sat dormant. Speaking of dormant, so the Patriots have been dormant this year. At 3-10, the Patriots are probably going to be firing Belichick at the end of the season, and I think it's a little bit overdue. Frankly, I think Belichick should have walked away with Brady, just so people will never have the thing to be like, hey, Brady made Belichick, but now it's pretty obvious. I mean, Brady went down to Tampa and won a Super Bowl, and Belichick has been ass, thank you, ever since Brady left. Hasn't won a playoff game. It's just been ridiculous, man. But yeah, the whole thing about it is that it's probably overdue, and everything comes to an end. But I think that Belichick, if he wants to keep coaching, I think that he'll have a job in like 2 seconds. And also, I think that if a team wanted to trade for Belichick, I think that he would have some trade value. So we'll see. Something that has no value to me anymore is Top the Tater. So if you're from the great state of Minnesota or the Midwest writ large, Top the Tater is fantastic, but because you literally can use it on so many things. It's great with chicken wings, by the way. Or you can literally put it on a tater. You can dip your chips into it. It's just delightful. It's just very good. Basically what it is, it's like a seasoned sour cream. Well, it says on the thing, chive onion sour cream. But, Top the Tater. Tastes like treason. So Top the Tater, leaning in with, sponsoring the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers. It's ridiculous. Dead to me. Never going to buy it again. And people may say, oh, that's just being petty. I do not care. Don't care at all, man. KYA, know your audience. And I understand Wisconsinites probably eat a lot of Top the Tater and probably a calculated move by their marketing department, but don't care. This side of the river, done. Finito. And again, people may say that's petty. I will hold consumer grudges. Like, so you ever have people like come and knock on your door and be like, hey, your windows suck. Here, buy our windows. So we had that recently where the house we bought, just right before we bought it, they got new Andersen windows. Right, and one of the Andersen window salespeople came around, knocked on the door, was like, "Hey, we noticed your windows kind of suck. How about you buy some Andersen windows?" And then when I revealed them that they are Andersen windows, they're like, "I will I will never buy anything from a company that goes door to door. Never. Like, if I'm interested in a product, I will seek you out. You do not knock on my door. You do not seek me out. I know that this is old man, get off my lawn thing, but I feel like I'm not alone on this. Like, door-to-door solicitation. Like, how is that still a thing in 2023? Like, this is not the 50s where you're trying to sell Kirby vacuums door to door. It's stupid. It's like, what's the batting average? Like, what's the conversion rate on door to door sales? Like 0.01%? No, that's West Phillips. But no, the whole thing about it is that it's so stupid, and I hate it, and I will hold a grudge. Speaking of again, this is a marketing snafu. It's almost as bad as when the Metrodome went from the Dome Dog, produced by a solid, salt-of-the-earth Minnesota company, Austin Hormel from Austin, Minnesota, the crown jewel of South Central Minnesota. They went to Sheboygan, which is a Wisconsin company. Also, they went to Schweigert, which is also a Wisconsin company. So it's ridiculous. You're selling your soul across the river for a couple of nickels. I mean, this used to be a proper country. This used to be a proper state with Dome Dogs produced in state at Hormel. But I digress. There. But done, dead. Anyways, that's it. Wednesday, Vikings news up. Man, that went long. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.